So thank you for coming on the Align podcast with us. We really appreciate it. So basically, I wanted to kind of I'd love to start with you and your company and how long you've worked for them and some of your experiences and achievements in the roofing industry world.
Okay. I have been with my company, Elite Roofing and Solar, for 15 years.
Great.
I started as the admin assistant and have pretty much been in every single seat inside the organization other than labor and sales. We've achieved a ton. Our ceiling right now, we're $21 million as an organization. I
Yeah.
think our first year we were like $500,000 in revenue in 2010. So we're pretty proud of that. We like to think that we've challenged the status quo in the industry. We're very um, technology forward. We're very people focused, things like that. We've gotten Inc. 5000's fastest growing 3 times,
Yeah.
Inc. 5000's best places to work twice, um, 50 for 50, I think, fast and fastest growing companies in Denver. We got in the top 10 for the medium sized businesses.
That's
We just
fantastic.
got Westward's Best Roofer award. I've got Denver Business Journal's 40 under 40 class of 2021.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, we had a couple of accolades.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good. And what year did y'all first go into to business?
So we started in 2006. I wasn't part of the organization at that point, and we were just finishing basements. And so
Oh,
then the
okay.
recession hit. And
Right.
so, yeah, we closed everything down, or the owner did, for a couple years, and then rebranded and opened back up as Elite Roofing in
Oh, wow.
2010. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome. I actually worked for a company out of Antex for 22 years. I started there when I was a teenager, 17 years old, as a co-op program out of my school.
oh,
And I worked my way
cool.
up to VP and partner before I left. So I did that for 10 years. But the last 10 years I was there with them. So yeah, I know how it goes. I think I wore at least every hat in the industry. And when in the within the company, and I remember when I first started, they had me kind of overseeing job sites. So I was actually on the job sites with the guys. And back then, when I was in high school, everybody was still doing asphalt roofing.
Mm.
So I was up there with roofers, the guys up there in Houston during the summer heats. So it was I was lucky to get out of that
Yeah.
role eventually. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of metrics backed into it, and nowadays it's a lot simpler. Are y'all primarily commercial or residential?
We're primarily residential.
Are you? So you
Yeah,
do
we're about a
like
70-30
shingles and
split.
right? Do y'all do shingles and metal, or do you do something different? Do you do tile too?
We're primarily shingles, but we do metal and tile as well, just in much smaller percentages.
Wow.
So we're very heavy shingle.
Well, y'all have going from 500,000 to 20 plus million. That's pretty
Mhm.
good in what, 15 years?
Yeah, in 15 years. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, the company I used to work, they're still going strong. I still consult with them and help them, but yeah, they're right around 15 to 18 million, but they do a lot of commercial
Okay.
roofing in warehouses and academy sports and outdoors, things like that. They never Mike never wanted to get into the residential. He liked dealing with the contractors. So, you know,
Yeah.
you see
Yeah, it's two different businesses. It really is.
yeah,
It's
how's
we have
y'all's
two.
primarily focus? Like, do y'all go after like your developers, your community developers, your home builders, or do you focus mainly just on, your individuals?
Yeah, so we are in the Denver market. It's called like Hale Valley. So we
Hmm.
are an insurance model roofer for the most part on our resi side, not on our commercial side. We don't really do much with insurance
Right.
on our commercial side. But so we do have like a business development position. And so he goes after a lot of insurance agents, retailers, realtors, I'm sorry, property managers.
Yeah.
And then on our commercial side, we actually have created some really, really great relationships with like mitigation companies, like restoration companies.
That's nice. That's nice. Do y'all do like
Yeah.
apartment complexes or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, we do apartment complexes, townhomes, anything like that. We that's really a lot of what we do with restoration companies, for sure, for sure. So, that's kind of where our relationships have really developed over the years in that little bit of a niche. But we don't do
What
any new construction, so that's where we don't go after builders or general contractors, or
mhm.
it's just not our space at all.
Yeah, that's interesting. It is a lot of people's space in the roofing world. So I find that unique with you guys, especially. What is your main suppliers? Is it like ABC or is it who are y'all using right now?
I'm really fond of ABC as an organization, but I don't use them as my supplier, and that's strange. Like as a org, I really have a lot of respect for ABC, but we primarily are, gosh, suppliers have just merged like crazy
Yeah,
over the last
everybody
5 years.
merged. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm like about to say names, and I'm like, well, actually, it's so
yeah,
primary supplier is Beacon, which is now QXO.
yep,
Our other supplier is Elite Roofing Supply, which is now merged with Gulf Eagle. So it's
yep.
like
Yeah, they all
those are our main
merged.
ones. Yeah, they all merged. So
I think
American Roofing Supply, which got bought by Lowe's. So it's like,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
when I got out of the business a couple years back, it was right before COVID, actually. They hadn't made all those, nothing had merged quite yet. There were talks of it and different things, but it hadn't done it yet. So after COVID, everybody just kind of jumped on that bandwagon for
Mhm.
sure. So one of the things I like to do on the podcast is talk about, just the industry in general, especially with you guys being the leaders that you are, and where you think it's going. Like, where do you think the evolution of roofing is going, and how has it changed, like over the last 5 to 10 years? And where do you think it's kind of going with technology and all the ways that that is being implemented into today's world?
Yeah, I think that over the last, 5 to 10 years, even 15 years, I would say our
Hmm.
market has been flooded with roofers.
Yeah,
We just have
absolutely.
a massive amount of roofers. I think that people see the big dollar amounts in roofing.
Hmm.
I don't think they understand the amount of money that also goes out when you're
Yeah,
running a roofing business.
yeah.
And
It's a lot of
so
overhead.
it's a ton of overhead. You do have to staff appropriately, really high insurance. We're one of the most riskiest insurances,
Hmm.
our
Yep.
industries for insurances to cover. So there is a lot of government oversight. So it's or a lot of government regulation.
Mhm.
So I think that we might see the pendulum swing a little bit back the other way. I think we have already
Mhm.
a little bit. I think there are still a lot of roofing companies opening, but we'll see a pendulum swing a little bit. I think we're going to have some risk and some threat. But I think in the software space, I think roofers have been slow to integrate software
Yeah.
into their businesses. So I think right now is like the time. Um, I do believe that there's like this old school set of roofers that they're going to finish their businesses out. They're going to retire on spreadsheets.
Yes.
And I think those guys are just really starting to do that, retire or give it to their kids, whatever their legacy looks like.
Yeah.
Um,
Sell it, give it to somebody
Sell
else.
it.
Yeah. That is,
Mhm.
I know Mike down there in Houston. He's 74 now, and he's about ready to be done. So, um,
Mhm.
yeah,
As
he's
he should.
yeah,
Fought the good fight.
yeah, I mean, but he won't build it out like I tell him to get it ready to sell, and he wants to do everything old school. And I'm like, oh my God, I could help you with so much. And he's always been that way since I was a teenager. I remember he was my mentor, and he is there. Some of these guys in the roofing industry, they're so old school that they just absolutely refuse to implement some of the new technologies that make life so much better. But just not that. Like when you're trying to do what he's doing, which is find a buyer for his company, it makes life a lot easier for the buyers to come in there instead of having to do all kinds of new integrations and different things when they come in, it's already done. And he doesn't, they don't want to look at that. A lot of them don't. It's kind of a growing trend. And I find it remarkable given how much we've grown just in the last 10 years in that area.
Yeah, yeah, he'll just get a much smaller multiple. It's kind of a bummer to hear that, but it is true. But I think that that mindset that you're explaining right now is
Hmm.
starting to
Yeah.
move out of the industry, and the younger bunch is taking over, and that's exactly what they're going to do. It's the first thing that they're going to do as they step into those businesses is bring them up to a
Yeah, you have to.
modern times.
You have to evolve, or you're going to get left behind. I think some of these older gentlemen have and women have realized that. So it's good for the roofing industry, but it's you know what is it? 6% of roofing companies are successful past 3 to 5 years. So
Oh,
that's a low number considering how many go in. So when you talk about a lot of competitiveness coming in, you do have a lot of competitiveness, and you just kind of got to ride those waves because the new fizzles out, after a couple of years because people don't realize the overhead and the liability issues that are involved with roofing because your insurance alone, your workman's comp, and all those different things being roofers puts it in such a higher category
mhm.
that these guys they hang in there for a couple of years and they kind of peter out because of that.
Yeah, they also come into the wrong reasons. You have a lot of roofers opening businesses that were really great sales guys. And a
Yes.
really great sales guy is not going to understand how to run a business. And a really great sales guy is going to overlook what it took to do all the fulfillment. And a really great salesman doesn't understand how to
Yeah.
run his accounts receivable and his accounts payable
Hmm.
properly, or understand how to read a P&L or a balance sheet. So
No.
it's like it is kind of scary on one end because they do have tarnished our industry a little bit with
Yeah.
some shady reputation stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of us here fighting the good fight,
Oh
doing
yeah.
things the right way and operating in correctness. But you're right, they do fizzle out. I didn't know it was 6%, which is
Yes.
wild. I'm definitely going to repeat that stat
It's like 6%.
regularly in my other career as
Yeah,
consultants, but
past 3 years, it's like 6%. So it's something to be said for that because like you're right, salesmen they don't know how to do the payables and the receivables. They kind of get in over their heads and then they don't know what to do and then it just becomes just this nasty circle of problems that erupts. But it's really interesting the ones that can get it right now and the fact that technology is allowing it to be easier and to manage those better also helps, I think. But again, you know, like when I learned from Mike was, and what I learned being out on a roof for over 3 years is that you cannot take away from how important it is to have somebody that's out in the field that knows what they're looking at and the problems that occur. I know a residential
yeah.
roofing, it probably isn't quite as the same, but I'm sure you do because you've got different situations, and architects don't always draw it up right. They don't design it right. It's not right, and you've got to go out there and you've got to submit addendums and different things to build it out right because the gravel guard is incorrect or this is wrong or the height of this wall isn't going to work and this drainage system isn't going to work because that's really about what it is for roofing is creating those the correct drainage is everything because if you don't have that you are not going to build a roof that's going to last and or one that's not going to have problems constantly.
Yeah, it's so true. The drainage thing is no joke, and that's one
Yeah,
reason why we don't well, not the drainage, but the architect or engineer. It's just wild to me that the people putting these plans together have
I have
really
no
never
idea.
contact. Yeah, they just would like, how do you do this from your desk and never actually do that? Maybe they don't hear about all the things that go wrong, and they just think their plans are perfect because by then it just moves to the next hand or something. But it's just wild to me that all the things that we dabbled in new construction, it was like exactly everything you just said. At the end of it,
Yeah.
you just don't make any money.
No, you don't because you've got to go in and do all the corrections and then the GCs are calling you to create a drawing to show how it needs to be and how it needs to be corrected and laid down. And the engineers and the architects don't have a clue. They have
No.
absolutely zero boots on the ground to understand, and they haven't taken the time to go out there and see what they're actually designing and how it works. And it causes a lot of problems. But I always found that very interesting, especially in the commercial world with GCs. Architects and engineers would absolutely screw up a set of plans quicker than anybody in the world in
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
it's a trip.
hotel. Yeah.
Hmm.
How's it in the residential space? What is that like there? Do y'all have issues with that estimating jobs, or do you just go by square footage?
Yeah, no, I mean it does simplify it a ton, residential, you know. Like when I run my workflows, I run two workflows. I run a project workflow and I run a job workflow. And
Okay.
so for all intents and purposes, I run a residential roof through a job workflow. Anything that's going to take me 1 to 3 days, it's just, we're in and out and
Yeah.
we're buttoning it up and put a period on it and you know we
Right.
do it really 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 well. We have great crews, high quality. We just we stay in our lane. We don't mess with like
Important.
windows and siding and like we want to
Yeah.
be really great roofers, and so that's what we do. And of course you're going to run into things when you're out there with the way roofs tie into each other, and sometimes you have that. You get on a roof that's just a really bad design, and it's so rare. I love that you said the drainage thing because I think that people don't. I'm like, man, I could write a repair estimate just because I've been in the industry so long and I've seen so much, like all the things that could go wrong I've seen. And I'm like, the first thing I look at when I see a leak is like, okay, where's the water flowing off this roof? And if you get a seasoned person in roofing come in and they're working on the repair, they want to fix the leak, and they don't even think about the fact that this is actually caused by a massive amount of water. This whole roof points all the water to this one section. You
Yep.
fix the leak, water is just going to break that repair down again
Yeah.
over time. And 6 months later, you'll be right back out to fix it. It's the design. You got to figure out how to get less water flowing towards that specific
It
area.
has
And
to
those,
be equally spread out, right, over the roof. Otherwise, you have that, what you said, it just all comes in one spot, and that one spot just keeps getting pounded and pounded. Not to
Mhm,
mention what it does to the fascia and the soffit and everything else
mhm.
that you've
Yeah,
got going on. So it can be a real big mess,
yeah.
for sure. So can you walk me through like a typical day for you guys, like because you obviously are an up and coming, and you've done probably an enormous amount for your company. What does a typical day for you kind of look like?
Yeah, I spend so I may have told you this in a pre-meeting that we had, but I actually live in Florida and I run a roofing company out of Denver. So I'm
Nice.
full 100% remote. So I spend a lot of my day in meetings. So this scenario that we're in is pretty much my
Constant.
day. Yeah. Yeah. Zoom all day long. So I do spend a lot of time. I do a lot of one-on-one meetings with my staff because I
Yeah.
am remote. I do very little tasking. I step into the challenges, the problems. I'm a complete implementer. So find the
Nice.
holes and create the solutions is kind of where I thrive. And then I actually spend about half of my time right now in the roofing academy. So I spend a lot of time doing the consulting. So
You don't want
um,
to do a roofing in Florida?
roofing in Florida is very complicated. It's
Yeah,
actually
because you've
why I
got the
moved here,
hurricane.
though.
Yeah.
You have the hurricane, you have a lot of like really stringent codes because of the
Yes.
hurricanes. Miami-Dade is
It's
the
horrible.
Miami-Dade is the hardest. Yeah, it's the most challenging jurisdiction to work in code-wise. But it's not just that. They have laws around subcontractors. So all your labor has to be W-2 employees. So
Yep.
it's very, very challenging to find labor down here. I did move down here to buy a roofing company. That was the purpose of me moving here. And 2 weeks before closing, I walked on the deal. I couldn't agree. Old school roofer doing everything on spreadsheets.
Oh
Couldn't
yeah.
turn that sucker around, but we couldn't agree on 2 points in the contract, and I did walk on it. And he had a full 42 in-house labor guys. So he had, figured out it was like, had that figured out. I don't know if I'd want to start one here.
Yeah, no, there's the restrictions and the licensing and all the things that follow. Everything that you have to do there is insane. I know
Mhm.
that we used to
Yeah.
roof the Academy Sports and Outdoors out there, and when we'd have one get tore, I mean, you talk about a nightmare of things we had to go through. It was crazy. It was always a nightmare. We did them, but we'd have to charge so much because the overhead to implement the things that had to be done out there was so much more than anywhere else in the country. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just is. Even if you go up to Georgia and the Carolinas, it wasn't as bad as Miami, Dade. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've lived here 2 years now, and I hope that this is PC enough for your show. But I'm like,
Yeah.
since I've moved here, I realized like Florida has the most red tape for a red state entire country. It's
Yes.
really strange. It's like there's
Yeah.
really heavy regulation here, even though the state is red. So even
I
like I
think
had a
it's because
baby
of the
here and I
insurance
had to have her at
companies.
home. Probably. I think too that there are no tax states, so the states got to figure out how to make their revenue.
Money. Yeah.
So I think that's part of
You
it
got
too.
everybody's got to make
Yeah,
money, right? So yeah,
yeah.
no, I agree with you there. There is so much red tape for it being such a red state. I 100% agree because you go somewhere like Texas, there's no red tape. The red tape is like
No,
nothing considered to what Florida is. So yeah, but you know, Texas makes a lot of money. They have their own income tax. They have they have everything they need. They're a very rich state, and Florida is too. But it's because there's so much red tape. It's kind of funny that you put it that way because that is true. Um,
yeah.
for sure. So what about, you talked about you guys are doing a lot of things right. What do you suggest in the new world of tech and AI and the way where everything is going? What are some of your recommendations for other people that you find are absolutely a must have?
Yeah. I think we get so busy that I think it's more than busy. I think it's avoidance. So I say step into a tech stack, commit to it, figure
Mhm.
out how to integrate it, and then let the thing hum. That's always going to be little bits of challenges, but the amount of time that you're going to save if you commit to a tech stack, like,
Mhm.
is just it's unmeasurable.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's what I do is I go around also. I have this podcast, but I also have the company here, Centra AI, and we go into roofing companies because there's such a high demand for it, and integrate software and tools and all kinds of stuff, a tech stack, like you said, workflows that makes sense for people, right? I mean, you guys obviously, if I had to guess, you probably already have your stuff set up. But what I like to do is bring this awareness that these things actually make things work better and make you more efficient, save you money. And I'm kind of out here trying to spread that word and help clients in the same process. But someone like you, what kind of tech stack do you have? Like, how are you implementing it? Like, what recommendations specifically would you give somebody?
Mhm. Yeah, I think you got to have a main CRM, and you got to make sure that that CRM is flexible enough for your business, or maybe the flip side of it, hard coded enough for your business. If you don't have a lot of workflow and you just need something to follow, maybe that's a better CRM for you. If you plan on scaling and growing, you want one that can flex and move along with you. So I
Yeah.
do recommend Job Nimbus to roofing contractors, really trades companies in general. It's
Which one do
very
you
flexible.
guys use?
We use Job Nimbus.
Okay.
Yeah, we
That's
use
what,
Job Nimbus.
and you like it?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I'm married to it.
I bet you
Job
are.
Nimbus.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you are, especially being remote because everything you do is going to be online. Everything you have to see that eagle eye view and everything has to be there for you. So,
Yeah. Yeah, when I became director of operations in 2017,
hmm.
the first thing I did was get rid of paper and switch to Job Nimbus from AccuLynx. And it was hard. And I jokingly say,
AccuLynx is a
over the
nightmare.
last, yeah, and the last 15 years, if I can think of three times in my career I just wanted to throw in the towel and quit. It
Yeah.
was probably that migration and transition from Job Nimbus from AccuLynx to Job Nimbus. I was like, oh my God,
Yes.
but I'm so glad I pushed through that. I learned so much from it. Um, and so like, I don't know, like the change there. I can give the example to your point too, is like when I went to digital time tracking from paper time tracking, I saved 6 hours a week. It's like, what can
Hmm.
you do with 24 hours more in your month?
Right. A lot.
A lot, hopefully a lot,
Well, how
if you're
much?
productive at all.
Right. Now,
So,
how much time would you say this is a great example for, people that I'm trying to help implement some of these CRMs and different tools and software that can help them. How much time did you actually save when you switched to a CRM?
oh my
And once you
gosh, it's
got it
so hard. I
done,
did it so quick. We opened 2010 as roofing, and I was into a CRM by 2000 January 2012. So like
good for you.
a year and a half. So I would say initially not as much time as had we fully committed because we were still running paper files,
Right.
still printing down three invoices for everything, the paper file, the
Yeah.
copy of the check, the copy to the, job file. So,
Right. What about
um,
2018 after you implemented the new CRM?
gosh, when we went paperless, we probably saved probably at least 5 hours per position, I would say.
That's a lot.
Actually, I had to release I had to, so I had a receptionist. All she did was file papers.
Right. You had to let her go. Yeah.
I didn't let her go. I reassigned her to another
Reassigned
place,
her. Good.
but
Yeah, a lot of people are
yes,
scared of AI for that and all the new software and implementations, um, all these different workflows because they're afraid it's going to take their job. But I think where people don't realize is it's not really meant to take over our jobs because you still have to have the human oversight. It's just meant to help make our jobs easier and more efficient. And I think people get that really confused. And I think that's what a lot of these, especially the older generation, they don't understand that. They're scared to death of it.
they are. And so while we're still young, we need to push into the things we're afraid of because that's what's going to make us better human beings. It's like that's the objective. You're
Exactly.
afraid of it, push into it.
Right.
Like
Absolutely. There you
that's how you
go.
overcome it.
And that's really the only way you can is, and a lot of these guys like I'm talking to right now that they're stuck with AccuLinks and they're having all
Mhm.
those back end problems that you have with QuickBooks, right? So you have
Yeah.
all these issues going on, and they don't want to, but they don't want to switch to a different CRM. So I'm trying to help them and just banging my head against the wall because if they would just allow me, and I'm willing to do all the data transfer for them, if they would just take the time to let me do it and be open minded to it, I could make their lives so much better. But it's they're just good old boys, and they had a hard time of just going to AccuLinks alone. 6 7 years ago, much less doing something else different now. And I think that they just don't understand how beneficial it is. I think that's where the real problem is.
Yeah, they don't understand. And then if you force them into it and that's their mindset, they're not going to utilize the tool. And if
No,
they don't utilize the tool, nobody in the organization utilize the tool.
no, and that's
Yeah.
these guys are willing to. They're willing to look at some different things because they see it coming. Like they're young enough to realize that it's coming and they have to do something about it because they're only a 10-year-old company, so they want to be around for a lot longer. And they're like in the central USA, and I have several of these like this, but I think it's a matter of us just trying to make people understand that the technology that is growing and the capabilities that AI are going to and the software along with the software integrations it is going to make our lives so much easier and so much more efficient if they would just give you the chance to explain it and to show it in real time.
Yeah, yeah. Do you get the opportunity to show them very often, or is it mostly in
Yeah,
conversation?
it's mostly in conversation. I go in and then I'm able to show them once it's up and I have everything up and running, and I train them on it and I show them, and the ones that we've done that with, they're like, oh my God, their eyes are popping out. Wow, if we'd had only known this 3 or 4 years ago, we could be doubling or tripling our revenue, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is, you have to get past that initial, and we've got a new go high level that's just come out within our company too that is so accessible in so many different ways. It can tie into anything, but that right there is it. We're creating a demo that can where we can show some implementations with that, but it because we tailor it to how I'm sure just speaking with you on the back end in your workflows and the way that you can connect and integrate different things. There's so many ways
Hmm.
you can tailor it to what you need, and
Hmm.
when you're talking to them, somebody that's not familiar with that, they don't understand that there's you can't show them specifically because you're going to set it up and tailor it to them specifically. Like what is their biggest pain points? What are their biggest problems? And because that's what we're really trying to go in there and figure out what those are, and truly try and help them get better and to grow that revenue or to save time, save money. And so for each company, those pain points are generally within a similar spectrum, depending on how they're operating their daily functions. But it varies from company to company, so it's never the same. So we try and create it to specifically and tailor it specifically to those companies where it's the most beneficial. But again, it's sometimes it's like twisting their arms, so you just never know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how it goes. So you've got the so your achievements is You got one of the under 40 up and comers awards.
Yeah, the Business Journal 40 under 40. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Uh,
I thought you said over 40 at first. I said, you don't look over 40. You're
live the
way
life
too
of someone
young.
over 40. I'm
No,
38.
I'm over
I'm
40,
38.
but look, you've been great having on. I really appreciate it. You help us kind of bring awareness to how much, even somebody who is as tech savvy and as has the evolution insight that you have, to keep moving forward, to keep pushing through and upgrading your systems and keeping them, going. That, it's really hard for a lot of guys and women in this industry to do that. So we really appreciate you being that model for all of us and
Thank
helping,
you.
give examples to make my job easier too.
Yeah, I mean, Bree Reese, the Elite Roofing and Solar out of Denver, Colorado, but also the
Awesome.
Roofing Academy. If you are in the need of any consulting or systems operations or finance help, we're all set up to help people out.
There you go, Bree. Everybody get hold of Bree. And Bree, where's the best place for them to get hold of you if they need some help?
Yeah, you can reach me at Bree at theroofingacademy.com. My Instagram is Bree.Reese, I think. I don't do that much on other items. I apologize, but you can find me. Google me for sure.
All right, perfect. And if y'all can't find her, then you can look me up on LinkedIn and I will connect you with Bree as well. Well, look, we appreciate you having on. You have a great day. And thank you so much for all your insight and useful, wonderful information.
Yeah, for sure. Have a great day, Amy.
You too. Bye bye.